Okay, now it says we're live.
All right, hello.
It also said we can broadcast for up to 8 hours.
All right, I got the stamina. I just ate some fiber cereals, so I'm ready.
Nice. No, fiber cereal would not make for a good 8 hours, Blake. Fiber cereal has a impact on the body.
I was setting you up for that one. I didn't know if you would take it. I like that.
Yeah, very nice. Got some people in the chat already. Austin's there saying hello. He says hello to Blake as well. Can you read the chat on your end?
No, I don't see it, but I can
Okay,
probably pull it up.
cool. I'll pass stuff along if I need to.
Cool.
One life to liver says hello to all. Dr. C says hi everyone, or Dr. Chaput1 says hello. So Blake, you are our host and MC of our family meeting every month. So this will be the family meeting for July. We had talked last time about doing like a little studio tour, that kind of thing. So we can do a little bit of that. Although my camera isn't as mobile as I want it to be, I was doing some research on doing this through mobile, so I could kind of like take my phone around and like show stuff. But apparently you can't do it through mobile. You have to do it through connected to the computer. So I can move the camera around a little bit and talk about some stuff. But I do want to kind of see who's here. It looks like we've got 5 people watching. That probably includes me. So 4 others. Thank you so much. First of all, I should always start by saying this. Thank you so much for supporting What Goes On at Your Movie Friend in the YouTube channel. It really is a humbling thing. I was looking today, and I think there are, is it 15 people who are supporting at family level or more? So there could be up to 15 people here hanging out with us today. That's pretty awesome. So thank you guys. I really appreciate that. It means a lot. All right, so where do you want to take us? Host, MC,
Well,
Blake the Snake?
do we want to go tour first, or do we want to go talk movies first?
Sure, let's go tour first. In One Life to Liver says her name is Lara.
Hey,
So,
by the way, Lara, if we were doing like awards for the coolest name, that's really cool. One Life to Live. I feel like that has a whole backstory to it, so that's a cool name.
yeah, that's awesome. And if you have any questions in the chat, she says thank you, by the way. If you have any questions in the chat, make sure to pop them up there. We will see them. Again, you're on a little bit, I'm thinking it's about like a 10-second delay, 10 or 15-second delay of what you're seeing versus where we are in the real world, in the real-time continuum, as it were. So, yeah, so we'll get to them as quick as we can. But yeah, so, okay, so we can do a little bit of a tour. We can start kind of with everything behind me. This is my YouTube set. Here, I will try to take this off and see if I can put it back on later. And see how far it'll stretch. This is about as far as we can go. So, all right, I can show you my little setup here. So I had it on that little stand, and then there's a light there to give me a little light on the face. There's a little, whoa. Sorry, I get a little distracted. There's a clock on the wall that helps me know what time it is. Are we liking the tour so far? That is my Just Keep Swimming poster, which doesn't often show up on screen, but
I haven't seen that one.
My son got that for me for my birthday last year. So I love that. And then you've got the stuff in the background, which is, of course, the Inside Out characters. Notice a little baby thing back there. That's because my co-host has a baby now, so when she comes in to record for our radio show, a little baby with her. That's our map that shows like which stations we're on across the country for our radio show. So then a poster for one of our stations, Boost 1019, which you may have seen my Boost 1019 sweatshirt in a lot of my videos. I wear that a lot. So those are Pixar mugs, which I love. It's one of my favorites. So I put those up there. And then I wish I could get closer to the small stuff up there, but do you guys have any questions about that stuff? Yes, it is a bit like Cloverfield right now. I apologize.
Oh, goodness.
So let's see if I can step out of the way. So from bottom to top of that back, there's like Wreck-It Ralph stuff. There's a Minion back there, a little bit of How to Train Your Dragon. We've got the Fifth Element Funkos. You've got some incredible stuff there on the third shelf. A little bit of Mario and Bowser there on the second shelf. And then you've got the mine seagulls from Finding Nemo up at the very top. And then Guardians, Groot and Rocket there on the second to the bottom. And then some How to Train Your Dragon Funkos there. Some miniature Peanuts Funkos. It looks like Snoopy's taking a nap down there on the bottom. And then you've got Olaf up there, a little Stormtrooper mug, some other stuff too. So that's kind of the basics of that. And then we've got our radio set up here with like microphones and that kind of stuff that all goes into this board, which then records to here. So that's kind of the full setup. And then of course we've got some ibuprofen just in case headaches hit during the recording process. Very important stuff. How was that? Anything else?
I'm surprised that a minion made it into your lair. If it has made it into the bunker in the Ozarks, they truly have dominance over the whole world.
Yeah, minions.
I personally don't hate them like everyone else does. I haven't seen Despicable Me 3 yet, but I think they're kind of funny in times.
Oh, they're funny, all right. There ain't no doubt about that they're funny. I just don't know that they deserve their own movie.
Yeah, that own movie was weird. I watched that only because I was snowed into my house. I literally couldn't leave. It's the only reason I watched that one.
The Minion movie or what?
The Minion movie, yeah.
Yeah. It reminded me of the Penguins of Madagascar. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I didn't see that one. I think that would have been better. I really like the Penguins.
But see, here's the thing. They're a side character, and when you try to make like the comic relief into the main character, it becomes an issue sometimes. I actually think Cars 2, although Cars 2 suffers from a lot of things, also suffers from the whole trying to make your comic sidekick into a main character thing. So
same way with the Jack Sparrow. I really liked Cars 3. That I was surprised that I didn't think it was one of the first times I feel like a studio has pulled back and like recognized its mistakes and they put Mater in their less. So I really respected that about Pixar. And I feel like they made 3 with the point of saying, we're going to make this better.
It feels that way, right? Like it feels like they corrected the things and they got back to story. They got back to lightning. They got back to story. They got back to racing. They found their roots. So yeah, they course corrected really well, I thought. Dr. C says, any Iron Giant? I wish I had some Iron Giant stuff, but I just don't have any around here. So
it'd be tough to have an Iron Giant figurine because I doubt that would work as a Funko size.
This is my fam, my boys, I should say.
All 4 of them.
Yep, that was a few years ago though. So keep that in here. And of course, just in case I need to call The Incredibles.
Nice.
Hello? Hello, Bob? Bob? Bob, how are you there? Okay.
Can you tell us about the second movie? Anything?
Oh, man. Are you nervous?
I mean, don't we have to be after this much of a break?
I don't know. I mean, it's Pixar, you know. The only time they've really let me down is with Cars 2. So I tend to trust them more than not.
Well, but it's just Incredibles has risen to the top of Pixar almost. It's kind of like the best of the best, and so I don't know though. I mean, they've taken so much time, so that does make me more optimistic. I'll move out of cautiously optimistic and into just optimistic.
Yeah,
but just barely.
I think I'm optimistic too. I'm same way with Coco. I mean, I love their original stuff, but I haven't, of course, I haven't seen any trailers or anything, so I don't know what the word is on that.
You're not missing much though. Like the trailer, which I guess I respect that, but I saw the trailer and I was like, all right, I know the character, but I don't know anything else. So
yeah. Evan, you figured out how to get to the chat. Yes. Nice. I felt so bad last month because I went back to the Patreon post and Evan had posted like 4 times. I can't get into the chat. Help me. I don't know where I am. Yeah, this is the place. This time I think I put a link right in the notes for the post, and so I think it'd be easy to get to. Lara says, super nervous about Coco. I think the subject matter is a tough sell.
They're good at though, right? Pixar's good at taking those kind of topics and making them relatable.
Yeah, I think so. It's a tough sell, but I mean, the other thing is, it's actually kind of already been done, right? With the what was the other Day of the Dead? Day of the Dead? Yeah, that's what it is. Movie, that the animated one that came out, that I thought was actually pretty good. Um, I can't remember the name. Seems like it was Del Toro or somebody did it. I can't remember.
Hmm.
But um, but yeah, it's been done before, and I thought they did a good job with it. So, but we'll see.
Yeah.
See how it goes. Uh, Jack says, if Brad Bird is back, then I'm down. That guy knows his movies. Yeah, fair point.
Oh, is Brad Bird doing it?
Yeah, he's doing
Oh,
The Incredibles. Yeah.
oh, I thought he meant Coco as well. I was like,
Oh,
oh,
no. The Incredibles. Yeah.
gotcha.
I don't think he's doing Coco.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah. Brad Bird can do everything as far as I'm concerned. Yes, Dr. C, Book of Life. That's right. Austin had it there too. Book of Life is the one I was talking about. Did you ever see Book of Life?
I didn't.
Okay. I think it's decent. I think it's worth a watch.
I mean, the concept is cool enough that as long as they can step over the cultural bombs to make sure they don't do any misappropriation, I think it could be really awesome. And it has all that. It's new, right? Like this is something.
Right.
This is new to American audiences. Like for my history classes, I knew what this was, but that was it. And so it's a cool thing to explore if they do it right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so as well. All right. So where else do you want to touch on, Austin, during this family meeting? Blake. Sorry.
Oh, all right. I was like, I think he's got that wrong. All right. So I asked earlier in the week your movies that you're most anticipating coming up. But then I thought on the drive home, because I have that 40 minutes, which I listened to the Sif Spoil, by the way. I was glad it was long. But I thought, what are some movies that are that I'm excited for that I don't feel like have gotten a lot of love or advertising? And I thought we could talk about some of those if you had any. And the one that came up was keeping with the Spider-Man thing. Was American Assassin. It's got Michael Keaton and Connor O'Brien from the Maze Runner series. And the title looks terrible. American Assassin. Give me a break. But it looks awesome.
Do you remember the movie Assassins with Antonio Banderas and who else was in that? It was somebody. It was another big name. Do you remember that movie? Did you ever see that? It came out a while ago.
I'm just gonna have to do my movie homework.
Well, see, here's the thing. I'm better at looking back than forward because, again, I don't watch any trailers.
Yeah.
So it's funny because when I do the most anticipated, it's different for me, right? Because I'm not getting pumped up by, the marketing material that's being put out. I just have heard these are some of the movies that are coming out. And like you talk about American Assassin, that may be the first time I've ever heard of it. Like I live in the present or possibly a little bit of the past. I just don't look too far ahead. I just realized that Dunkirk's coming out next week. Now I'd heard of Dunkirk, so so it's not like I hadn't heard of it, but yeah, so I really don't know much. But you think American Assassins looks good?
Well, and I don't know how much I can say since you avoid trailers. Just from what I saw from the trailer, it's all I know is apparently Connor O'Brien's character, he was an American soldier, and then something happened to him, like something got taken from his life, and so he ends up getting trained by Michael Keaton to be an American assassin. And there's this great line where Keaton's like, just because you think something was taken from you, you can just be crazy. Like, you got to be trained. And I'm after The Founder and after Spider-Man, I'm dying for more Michael Keaton. So I've only seen
So great to have him back.
Amazing, right? We talked about it at the Monday morning meeting today for about 10 minutes not about 5 for Michael Keaton. And so I'm excited for that one. It looks good.
Yeah, he is so great in Spider-Man. Such a great performance, and of course he's been doing other great stuff as well. Yeah, you're right, Jack. It was Sylvester Stallone that was with Antonio Banderas in Assassins.
Nice.
I almost said that, but I wasn't sure. Let's see. Austin says that American Assassin looks awful.
Oh no! I've only seen the one trailer, and it was quick.
See, this is the thing. I don't know how you tell, right? Until you watch the movie, like a trailer could be false either way.
Yeah.
I've seen way too many good movies from bad trailers and vice versa to put too much stock in it. Austin asks, are you seeing Valerian or Dunkirk sometime soon?
I wanted to know you as well. Valerian, we have to review it, right? Because it's so big, but it doesn't look that good.
Yeah, I will. I'll watch Valerian. But somebody says he's getting Jupiter Ascending vibes from it, which I can understand. Uh, Valerian, I will not be watching early. I'll be screening it probably Thursday. I may have talked about this before. I get invited to press screenings, but I live in
Far
Springfield,
away.
Missouri, and they're always in St. Louis or Kansas City. I am actually going to go to Kansas City on Monday for the Dunkirk press screening. So I'm going to take the drive. I'm going with a friend who's going to take my +1 ticket, and he's going to do all the driving so that I can do maybe some writing on the way there, on the way back. I may start doing that more if I see the benefit in the YouTube views. And what got me thinking was my Okja review
Mm-hmm.
has almost 5,000 views, which is more than any other movie I've ever reviewed. It is the top viewed movie I have ever reviewed at 5,000. I know that's baby compared to a lot of YouTube channels that are out there, but I was trying to figure out why, and the only thing I can think of is that I got a screener for it, and I was able to get it out a couple days ahead of time, and I think because of that, it built a little momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you've got view momentum, you show up in search results more. And so I am thinking I'm going to test it out with Dunkirk, and I'm going to try to get my Dunkirk review up either Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, unless there's an embargo on it, which usually the embargo runs out a couple days before the movie releases anyway.
Ah.
So I'm going to try to get my Dunkirk review up Tuesday night and see how that impacts the views. And if I see enough of a bump, I may make that trip every once in a while, maybe a couple times a month, or maybe weekly if it seems beneficial enough. But I've just been so surprised by the Okja, kind of.
You also had the help that that was a movie that apparently has been really awesome and people didn't expect it. It was also a Netflix movie, so that's really in right now. But I mean, I work at a marketing agency, and that doesn't surprise me a bit to hear you say that the early views would start snowballing. So I mean, it depends on the ride, but I mean that sounds like a fun time to go up early. But I mean, family of four must be tough to go all the time. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Evan says, "I'll drive you to a preview, Aaron, in my Tesla." All right.
Oh, dang.
I'll take you up on that.
Yeah, seriously.
That's the only car I'm looking. If I ever buy another car, which I'm not sure I will ever buy another car, because I think within the next 10 years, we will rent cars instead of buy them, or car services, and cars will just show up at our home and then take us where we need to go.
I just bought a car in February, Aaron. Thanks.
Well, I'm always wrong on this stuff. I'm always right on that will eventually be the thing. I'm just always way too early. I bought a television that was also a computer. It was called the Gateway Sensation. And this was back in the must have been like around the turn of the century, actually. So around 1999, 2000, somewhere in that range, because I knew that was the future. I knew we were all going to be watching TV and movies on our computers in the future, but I was way too early. Like that wasn't common for another, 5 to 10 years. So I'm probably wrong. It probably will be more like 20 years before that's common or something. But
you are an early adopter, is what they would call you.
Yes, I'm an early adopter for sure. Yeah, Evan says not 10 years, probably 20 to 25. You're probably right. I just want to dream. Listen, I cannot believe I'm so frustrated with the majority of the human race who hates change so much and fears technology so much that they're scared of self-driving cars. They are going to save so many lives, like right off the bat. What a couple thousand people a year die in automobile accidents that would not die with self-driving cars. You know what I mean? Like it's just it has to happen, and I don't know why people are so scared of it. That's one of my pet peeves.
From my debate days, I've run that case a few times in college, and I mean, yeah, it eliminates all the drunk driving, but then there's just the what if Fast Furious 8 is real and all those cars get
No.
Fear mongering.
Is it bad to say the Batmobile is still my dream car? Nope. You can hold out for the Batmobile all you want, man.
I mean, isn't that that's a pretty good dream car. Well, it looks like we may have run the course on anticipating movies. I would say, unless anyone in the chat has anyone they want to throw out, since.
What did I list in mine? I was trying to remember if I listed anything interesting in mine.
No. you answered on me on the Sunday Fun Day, and it was all 5 that I recognized. That's why I actually came up with the question.
Yeah, because I'm boring like that, I guess. But I cannot wait for Last Jedi. I can't wait. At that time, I mean, and still, I'm looking forward to War for the Planet of the Apes and Dunkirk, which are coming right up.
You had Coco and Thor Ragnarok as the last.
Coco and Thor. Like Pixar and Marvel. I mean, they've got my number. So
the good old monopoly.
Dr. C says I'm excited for The Dark Tower.
Yes.
As is obviously my co-host Andrew, who's a huge fan, although he's very nervous as well, of Sif Pop. What do you know about The Dark Tower?
Well, I know Andrew got it on my radar, and then the new theater that I've been going to since it's closer to my new job, they have this huge, it's called the Big D. It's an AMC theater. And the movie poster in front of the Big D for almost a month now has been The Dark Tower, which is insane to me because that poster changes like every week. It's the most visible thing. But AMC must believe in it because they've had that thing up for a month, and I think it comes out in August, September.
It's early August, I think. It's only a few weeks away.
But I mean, I'm excited. Matthew McConaughey in that role, it looks awesome. Idris, I'm going to say his name wrong. Alba is one of the most underutilized actors we got. So I'm optimistic.
It'll be interesting. Somebody else mentions The Big Sick, which I really am interested in seeing, but it hasn't come here yet. So
yeah, some of the critic groups I'm in on Instagram have said they really liked it, but so I've heard good things.
Yeah, that's Kumail Nanjiani, right? From Silicon Valley.
Yes, which I haven't seen. I've heard really good.
Yeah, it's really good. Whoa, Austin, Baby Driver let you down, huh? Man, I love Baby Driver. Did you see it, Blake?
Yeah, I saw it opening night. But they just had the recliners put in at the new theater, so it was cool. But I don't know. I mean, I think it had 1 or 2 kind of weirdnesses.
Oh, that's right, because you were bummed out because I told you it was a musical, and now you're afraid you kind of like the musical.
Well, I've always been vehemently against musicals, and when La La Land came out, I didn't really like it, and people said I just hated on it because that would get more buzz. I was like, oh, I just don't like them. So now I've been inceptioned into liking one. So, and I'm real enough to.
It really uses all the same tricks that a musical does to give you that euphoria feeling.
And here's the nice thing about it being a musical, that eliminates almost all of my gripes, because when you put that lens on it, all the things I thought, I don't know about that, they're gone.
Right.
So.
Yeah, for sure. All right, what else? What else do you want to talk about? We've got a few minutes left here.
I was thinking about what makes a movie rewatchable, because we have all these movies we love seeing in the theaters, but then I thought, what do I go back for? And I think comedies are the hardest ones to be, and so I just thought, what's kind of the traits that we look for or enjoy in movies that make them like, this is something I want to watch again and again?
That's a great question. I've actually thought a lot recently about that I don't rewatch as much as I used to, because there's so much great content out there. I think a lot of people are dealing with this too. Television is taking up so much of our content time, because it is the golden age of television, which I only put in quotes because I hear it so much. It actually is true.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's true enough to say.
But I really feel like I don't rewatch many movies. Now, I've watched La La Land, close to a dozen times now. I do. That is one I go back to, and it's that euphoria. It's that feeling of this movie does. There are moments that are just perfect, and every time I watch them, I get that feeling. I get that high. I get that adrenaline. And I think Baby Driver might be very similar. I'll probably give a lot of rewatches to that. There are also, you give rewatches to movies where you can catch things.
Right, that's what Baby Driver will be.
The next time around, and Baby Driver certainly will have some of that. M. Night movies have had a lot of that. I'll probably rewatch Split quite a bit. But I find the stuff I'm rewatching is kind of stuff that I used to rewatch back in the day. I don't find myself rewatching a lot of modern stuff. And I think that's just kind of the nature of our current culture, and also for me, the nature of what I do.
Yeah.
I also think it's interesting because I have entered into the last several years into a purposeful content kind of process where when I sit down to watch something, I'm always sitting down and I know exactly what I'm going to watch, and I put it on to watch it. Whereas back in the day, there was a lot more. And actually, if you listen to the Sincast, which I know a lot of people who listen to me do because that's where a lot of people found me, the podcast from the CinemaSins guys, they'll always talk about like finding something on TV and not being able to turn away from it. And I don't relate to that at all. I haven't sat down and turned on the TV in probably 6 years. Like I cut the cord, so I don't have like a subscription to, cable or satellite or anything like that. So I find that annoying to just like stream content into my home that I'm not like purposefully watching. I have so many things that I need to purposefully watch. I can't imagine just like turning something on in the background.
Yeah.
So that I think affects rewatchability a little bit too, right? Because, I think of Jeremy rewatching The Martian so much, it's because he sees it on TV and then he just watches through it or whatever, or, those kind of things. And I just don't have that experience. I'm just purposefully sitting down to binge watch, Glow or whatever the latest thing might be. So
let me know if you like that, because I haven't started that one.
I haven't started it either. It's next on my list. I'm trying to get through Dear White People. I'm 4 episodes from being done with Dear White People.
I did that all in a day and a half, so I'm excited to watch that.
It's so good and it's so important, and it's one I almost hesitate to comment on because I think my job as a white person is to just listen.
Well,
it's just to listen and hear what's being said.
Yeah, when I wrote about that, I said I basically just said watch this because there was not a lot of comedy. It was just and it's not preachy either. It's like it is purposeful. I don't want to go on a rant. It's awesome. I'm glad you're watching it. That's great.
Yeah. I'm about 4 episodes from being done, and the last episode I watched just floored me. And I'm really enjoying it. So once I get done with that, I actually haven't made up my mind if I'm going to start into Glow or Handmaid's Tale, which I haven't started into yet either.
One of our designers at work told me that Handmaid's Tale, you can't watch more than 1 or 2 at a time. It's heavy.
So maybe I'll do both. Maybe I'll watch an episode of Handmaid's Tale, then 3 episodes of Glow, and then we'll see how it goes.
It actually sounds like that would work.
Something like that. I think the chat's kind of chatting to themselves. I don't see necessarily any questions for us.
Rewatchable movies they liked?
I don't see anything.
I'll give you a weird one.
Okay, sure.
It's a comedy. That's why it's weird. It's the only comedy I rewatch is We're the Millers.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I somehow laugh at it all the time, but I just love Jason Sudeikis a lot. But I don't know, I laugh at it every time, and it's the only comedy I've ever watched, probably more than twice. So
I remember thinking there was a lot funny in that movie. I can't remember exactly what I said in my review or what grade I gave it. It feels like I probably gave it somewhere in the B minus range, because I did have some problems with it. But I remember it being funnier than I thought it was going to be. I don't rewatch many modern comedies. Like I'll go back to Groundhog Day. I love Groundhog Day. I've rewatched that. Maybe I just have a Bill Murray thing, but What About Bob is another one I've rewatched a lot. But again, those are older movies. They're movies that I watched when I was, watching things a million times because I loved it, and I just don't do that anymore. So it's not something that happens. Tropic Thunder has been mentioned.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Arrival was mentioned. So Evan says Raising Arizona.
I haven't seen that.
Raising Arizona is pretty much the first Coen Brothers movie that went big.
Oh.
It's Nicolas Cage in the lead. You should check it out. It's really interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, Raising Arizona. Cobra movies, yeah, I rewatch those quite a bit actually. Hudsucker Proxy, I've probably seen, 30 times. I love Hudsucker. And Oh Brother Where Art Thou was another one I've watched a lot.
I was raised on that movie as a child.
Trading Places with Eddie Murphy. Nice. Lyra says, I think musicals in general are just really rewatchable. It's the music. That's so true, right? Music is one of those interesting things where you can listen to a song 300 times and it gets better. It just keeps getting better and better and better.
It feels like it's
not necessarily that way. What's that?
Sorry, but it just feels like it's alive, like it's always moving and changing, and depending
Right.
upon your day, it can really conform to it.
Yeah, so I think musicals probably do have that going for them quite a bit, and I do rewatch musicals a lot. I've seen Sound of Music a lot, Mary Poppins a lot. Um, that's good stuff. So yeah, yep. All right. Anything else?
Uh, I mean, I guess this could be a quick one to kind of end on. I know you're big on trailers, and I'll hopefully be taking the trailer pledge soon because my theater, like I said, they've been doing a ton of work on it. You can now reserve your seat.
Right.
So I don't have to. I'm very particular about my seats, so I have to get there way on time. But now I have to worry about that. But so, do you think it's unethical or just ill-advisable to show scenes in a trailer for marketing and hype purposes, and then them not be in the movie? And I know that sometimes trailers are made before a final cut's made, but I thought about this again driving home because I thought there was a shot in this. I don't know if you go back and watch the Spider-Man trailer with him and
I
Iron
haven't
Man.
watched the Spider-Man trailer yet. No.
Well, there's just a really cool shot of the two of them, and I was like so in. Like I wasn't.
Iron Man and Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just really cool. And so then I realized that wasn't in the movie, and it kind of bummed me out. But just want to see what you thought about that.
That's interesting. I mean, it's happened for a long time, you know, because stuff gets left on the cutting room floor or whatever. They use it for the trailer, and then they don't get a chance to use it in the movie. But I wouldn't call it unethical. I don't think it's unethical at all. I think you can market the movie with whatever visual stimuli you want to use. There's no promise made that these are scenes from the movie, so I don't think it's unethical. It's only inadvisable in that it's annoying. It can annoy some people, like the scene you're talking about. But at the end of the day, I mean, again, if it were me, I would market things completely different. I wouldn't put anything from the movie out, you know, anywhere. I want it to be seen in context for the first time. But no, I don't have too much of a problem with it. I just think it's just kind of one of those annoying little things that happens. I'd much prefer that than giving away, you know, every big joke in a comedy.
That's a good flip side of it. Give us the feel, but not the actual. Okay,
Yeah.
I can dig that.
Yep. Well, I think that's good. What else? I mean, anything else you want to do before we kind of finish this out? Anything in the chat? Go ahead. If you're in the chat, I'll give you about 10-15 seconds here since I know you're on a delay. If you've got a question or anything, want to make sure you get it in there. Again, I appreciate so much the support you guys give. So I want to make sure that we make this time worthwhile for you. Also, not only if you've got a question that you want to put in the chat for me, if you have a suggestion for next month, like something fun we can do with this, video hangout, let Blake and I know. Blake's kind of our unofficial/official MC for these, which I really appreciate. It would be so much weirder and more awkward if I were just trying to do this solo. So thanks for co-hosting it up. So yeah, if you've got any ideas, if you've got any questions, anything like that in the chat. Okay, Austin asks, what spreadsheet do you use for movies that you've missed? So what I do is I have a spreadsheet in Google Sheets that I just call Movies 2017. And I'll just put the date, the movie, my grade, and maybe some notes in just across. And then I can sort by grade, I can sort by date, I can sort by title, I can, do all that stuff. And then I have a separate tab. You know how in spreadsheets you can have different sheets, along the bottom? I'll have a different sheet that I call ketchup. I actually spell it like the condiment, not the two words. But on ketchup, I put any movies that I haven't seen yet that I know have been out. So that happens now, whereas a couple years ago, I was seeing everything that came out when it came out. But now because I'm seeing one or two things a week, I do have some that I have to get back to. For instance, I still haven't seen Chips. So stuff like that.
That's fine. That's totally fine. Sometimes I make time decisions.
You're good, man. You're good. We don't need to know anything about
I
Chips.
will lift that burden off you. Don't.
Thanks. Yeah, it is unfortunately a burden I feel, and I probably will get around to watching it at some point. But maybe not. I don't know. So what I'll do is I'll list those by date, title, and then if they become available somewhere, I'll mark like where they're available to watch, that kind of thing. Or when I get a screener, I'll mark that I have a screener for it. case I want to watch it, that kind of thing. And then I have a couple other tabs down there that help me keep track of possible awards contenders. Like if I see a great performance, I'll make a note of, that and put it in another.
Is that mustard and mayonnaise and pickle?
No. I think it just says best actor, best actress, best picture, movie moment, those kind of things. So yeah, that's pretty much my sheet. And then when the year's over, I just, make a new one. And I've been doing that for probably 7 years now.
Wow.
And that also helps me with my year-end list that I can kind of look through. And again, when I make my year-end list, it's not as simple as ranking by grade and then going in order. I really like to think through how something has grown on me, comparatively, how it compares to other things. So, that list isn't necessarily as cut and dry as, the grades I give.
It's essentially there to help you cut through the massive undertaking and then give you something like, I'm assuming you probably have like, if you had to nominate a few, you've got your 10 or 20 here, and it's highly unlikely you're going to take 21, same way fantasy football. And so it's not absolute, just kind of guiding.
Right, exactly. But it's really nice to have those because I can go back and look at those. It's helpful for instance, when I was on Syncast for the first time for the year that we were doing, I was able to go back and kind of look at my notes on that year and not have to depend on my faulty human memory.
Yeah.
So that's, that kind of works out real nice to be able to have that. And then I update my list at the end of the year, and then also my best of all time list. I think of, like what are my top 5 movies of the year, and are any of them worthy of cracking the top 100 of all time? And we just kind of go from there.
That sounds like the soccer league over in Europe. If you're at the top of the echelon, you get to jump in that next level.
That's right. Relegation. Which movies are, bound for relegation? Let's see. Most surprising movie of 2017. Great question.
Get Out's an easy contender for that one.
Yeah.
Gifted as well. We both that hit both of us pretty hard, if I remember.
Yeah, Get Out's a great one. Dr. C says It Comes at Night is the one for him. I didn't like that as much as most people did. Here's the thing about it. It Comes at Night, as I continue to think about it. It is probably the greatest example in this year or even the last several years of a movie that is truly art. And what I mean by that is it's not something that is clearly trying to communicate something to the audience. I really don't believe it is. If it is, it's failing at that job. I don't think it clearly communicates much to the audience. It communicates to the audience through their own interpretation in their own view, which is very much what art does. You look at like surrealist paintings or those kind of things as visual art has progressed. That's what It Comes at Night reminds me of. And that is true art. And I give it big props for that. Just because I look at it and go, I don't get it, or it doesn't appeal to me. That doesn't mean it's a bad painting or a bad movie in this case. It just means that my eyes aren't seeing what I need to see to communicate something valuable to myself in that moment. I don't know I've ever seen a movie that is as much like, an art painting or project as It Comes at Night for me.
Yeah, I loaded up the entire family to go see that, and so that one hurt. But I think when I keep thinking about it to try to justify that movie, maybe it's fear. I mean, how scary would a scary movie be where there's no villain? It's just you are the villain creating your own nightmare. That's the only thing I can think of to try to think where maybe that's where they were going for what comes at night is fear and doubt. I don't know. That's
it is a pretty poor. I mean, it is. I feel like it is poorly titled too. I feel like the title sets up some interesting expectations of what the movie would be that it doesn't fulfill. But yeah, it's just an art piece. I really feel that way, and whether you like it or don't, it certainly is worth talking about, and that's what art does,
Well, it was a good attempt to give us something different, and when it's coming out of A24, you have to think to yourself, okay, well, I could be in for this. I could be in for this type of a movie. So
yeah, and it's certainly got performances that are kind of worth seeing it alone. You know what I mean? Like that's
the guy from Gifted was really good.
So
sorry, The Gift.
Yeah. So Edgerton.
Yes.
Joel Edgerton. was amazing in that. So yeah, Wonder Woman was a huge surprise, says Jack. Optimistic that it would be good, but didn't expect it to hit that level. I think that's a fair comment. I think DC has earned our cynicism, and so for Wonder Woman to really knock it out of the park like that is probably a good surprise. You mentioned Gifted. That's probably mine. That was my biggest surprise of the year, just to see this simple little Chris Evans heart story be that good. And it really is such a great story, and it's told very well. So Gifted would probably be mine.
It's tough to do a feel good that actually has a merit, and I haven't hated a villain like I hated the villain in Gifted since Umbridge from the fifth Harry Potter movie. Like that's how much I hated that woman. So for them to
That's funny that you call her the villain. I would have never have thought of her as the. I bet she is. She's the protagonist for sure.
the grandma, right? We're on the just
yeah,
make sure
yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And yet at the same time, her relationship with Chris Evans' character is really interesting and nuanced. You know, there's a real interesting love there for, between the two of them that they have to find their way through. And it speaks to, I think, what a lot of people deal with in their family. There are people in your family who, because of events or stories or personalities that could be considered like a hated relationship, but family bond is an interesting thing that kind of, the blood is thicker than water kind of thing. So I don't know. I found it really authentic.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it happening. I'll rewatch that one for sure.
Lara says Gifted comes out on digital tonight, so she can't wait to grab it. So there you go.
Nice.
So you can do that. All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you hanging out. As always, this will be available on the YouTube channel for the link will stay live. I've went ahead and left the other ones up as well. If you've missed, a family meeting that you want to go and rewatch, they're all still on the channel. So just as long as, you're not giving out the link to somebody else who isn't part of the family, got to keep this in the family. We should be all set. But yeah, Austin, Dr. C, Jack, Lara, Evan, of course, Blake. Great to see you guys. Great to hang out with you guys. And always know that I'm available on Twitter, especially for you guys. If you have something that you need to know or something, something you want to shoot my way, I'd love to hear it. So Lara says, thanks, Aaron and Blake, and all in the chat. It's been fun. I totally agree. Austin said, glad to see more of you guys tonight. Yep. And Dr. C says this was a great time. So thanks, guys. Thanks, Blake. Appreciate your time. I'm going to go watch some World Series of Poker. So I'm not sure what everybody else has on their plates tonight, but I'm going to go root for Daniel Negreanu. What's that?
I said apparently getting gifted.
There you go. I already think you're gifted, Blake. You don't have to.
Well.
You're already gifted. All right. Bye, guys.